appreciate everybody being in attendance here today. We're excited to play. It's been a while with the open date, and I think we did a lot of things here during the open date and this week that's going to make us a better football team here as we enter the second half of the season. I have great respect for James Madison University, their football program, Coach Mickey Matthews and his team, and certainly have great admiration for the rivalry. So we're excited to go up there to Harrisonburg and take a step forward here with our season and try to play a more complete football game. At this time, I'll take any questions from the media.
Hey, Coach, in last year's Thriller, what'd you learn about Birdsong, JMU's quarterback, and what'd you learn about Michael, your quarterback? Both kind of a coming out party for both of them.
Yeah, I'll start with Strauss. I think Mike showed his ability to prepare during the course of a week, to come out, execute a game plan, and play at a very high level. So I thought that was very impressive moving forward with Mike Strauss getting his first start in college football. And he was a competitor. He showed a lot of toughness, was hit frequently, and really was able to continue to focus and perform. And then with Birdsong, I kind of remember as I tell the story, we were in the locker room at halftime, and I just told Coach Trott, I said, Bob, I'm telling you, he's going to change quarterbacks, and didn't have any real legitimate reason to believe that was going to happen, but I really sensed that he was going to make a change. And I don't remember the exact timeline that he made the change, but he took Thorpe out and put Birdsong in, and he did a phenomenal job. Certainly showed his ability to lead, his ability to run and throw with accuracy. So it happens this way sometimes. A guy comes in kind of as a relief pitcher, if you will, has some early success and kind of gets on a roll. And there was a couple plays real early when he was out there that we had a chance to sack him, and we didn't get him on the ground, and he broke out of there once or twice. Anytime you make a big run, you're going to have your mojo going a little bit, and he kind of settled in and played a real good game. So I think both kids really showed their talents on that afternoon.
Coach, I know we talked a little bit about before the bye week, but after the loss, how much does that make the bye week kind of drag out, and how antsy are you per se to get back?
Yeah, it's hard. I had made the comment heading into the main game about, we have 14 days to live with this result before we're able to go out and play again. And, sometimes when the coach is saying that's been doing this for 30 years, he has a pretty good idea what he's saying. Don't know if the student athlete always gets the depth of what that all means. We've kind of walked through these open dates many times in the past, and obviously there's always a better taste in your mouth if you're on a roll or coming off a win or have some momentum. We did a lot of things. We have really reevaluated some spots in our lineup. We've made some personnel adjustments, changes. We offered ample opportunity for some of our younger or less experienced players to get a lot more work during the open date. And then, we're still kind of waiting on a couple guys' injury status to return. So all those things were kind of in play here last week. But I do think we got off to a good start with our preparation. We did work Friday and Saturday on James Madison, so it does put you ahead of schedule a little bit. And I would say our practice yesterday was as good as I've had since I've been here, and I'm trying to put my finger on exactly what that was or why. Could be the rivalry, could be a lot of different factors in that.
Is JMU as balanced a team as both on both running and passing? and on defense. Are they similar to Maine in that regard?
Yeah, I guess you're probably similar to Maine in a lot of different ways. I think I have more familiarity with James Madison, and that's why sometimes it's a little harder maybe to assess that question in detail. I think defensively, James Madison has considerable speed in the front seven, linebacking core, and also in the secondary. I do think they're the most athletic or fastest team in our league defensively. Offensively, they have got real good balance, but they really have only had a couple of guys that have really carried the load. Obviously, Daquan is a exceptional football player. Arguments can be made that he's the best offensive player in this league. Quarterback's playing real well. And this Daniel Brown kid at receiver has really jumped out. And, so when you look at their statistics, you got a wide receiver with, great numbers. You got a running back with great numbers. And you have a quarterback that's having a real good season. The rest of the numbers are down a little bit, but they have a lot of other contributors that do have skill and talent. But Birdsong's ability to run the offense, get them in the right play, and then be able to run the ball or throw it with accuracy, I think makes them very difficult to defend.
Coach, can you talk a little bit about the rivalry and playing up there on the road, what that's like for players?
Yeah. I've been saying this here this week, and it's not in any way to minimize anything. It's, I think when you look at college football, whatever state you're in, whatever league you follow, anytime you're playing an in-state, in-conference game, it's a big deal. For us, there's two games that fall into that category with James Madison and then the William and Mary. Obviously, I spent 5 years at the University of Virginia. It was Virginia and Virginia Tech. I spent 4 years at Texas. It was Texas and Texas A&M. It's huge, but I think those are the components that make it huge. The fact that you're in the same conference, you're competing for the same prize, and then you're in the same home state, so you're competing for the same student athletes, and then in some ways, the same coverage and publicity and those types of things. So I think those are some of the reasons that these games are as significant as they are. And then as you look back through the history, there's obviously been some, really exciting games, some real pivotal games, and those certainly add to the flavor of the rivalry. But again, I say it again, I got great respect for James Madison and Coach Matthews, their football program, their kids, and I think my kids are extremely excited to play, and really feel we got something to prove. So I feel like. This is probably the right game for us to play here at this stage of the season.
Nicky said, and he's fond of saying this, that you guys are 3 plays from being 5-0.
Yeah.
He said his team is 2 plays from being 6-0. Do you buy into that, and do you view them that way? Because he clearly views you guys as being very close to.
Yeah, well, with them, it's cut and dry. Their Akron game was. Woulda, coulda, shoulda, right? But they certainly had every opportunity to win that football game. And then I don't remember the timeline of all this, but for some reason I was at home watching Delaware James Madison on TV. So maybe I don't remember what the timeline was with that, but I thought they had him beat. A couple, block punt, a little misfortune there late in the game, and things turned on them. So it's probably easier for me to speak of his season than my season, but I do think the same thing could be said, that both teams both teams are good football teams, and both teams have the ability to play at a real high level, evidenced in some of these performances that we've had this year.
Hey, Coach, what made Fontel Mines a good choice for your staff, and how, if he has, impacted development of Ben Edwards and Stephen Barnett?
Well, Fontel, I think, is a really special young man. I had the opportunity to get to know Fontel when I was at the University of Virginia. We recruited him into our program there and watched him grow and develop. Always admired his work ethic, his intellect, his commitment. Went on to have, spent some time in the NFL, which I think always helps to broaden a young person's understanding and perspective of this game. You know, you get around some people in the NFL that are professional to the core in terms of what they do, how they prepare. And once you start seeing that, it offers a little different perspective to you as what an athlete needs to do to be successful. When I came here, Fontel was on a short list. And as I did a little bit of research, I mean, I had nothing but flattering responses from a lot of different people that I knew from UVA, and then other people who have worked with Fontel since he had left UVA, and obviously being a local product here. I think it can offer perspective to our receivers that is very real. Very much in the moment in terms of what you have to do in today's game to be evaluated as a top-level player. The reality that it's a lot more than statistics, and the ability, what a complete game looks like. And I think those are some of the things that he brings to the table. I think the thing that I have admired and maybe enjoyed the most is he just absorbs anything and everything that is communicated in our staff meetings. He is a very much wanting to continue to learn, grow, and develop. And he asks questions, he does research, and he's very engaged in this process, and I'm really happy to have him on our staff. Yes, sir.
Anything else for Coach Rocco?
All right, thanks, guys.